All right, Miss, go ahead and ask the question.
Sex equals AIDS, and how do you feel?
That's not true. How do it?
What do you mean that's not true?
That's not true.
Who said that's not true? Why isn't that true?
Because that's a stereotype.
How is that a stereotype?
It says sex equals AIDS.
It doesn't?
Not every time that you have sex, you get AIDS. That's not right.
So you mean sex brings people on this earth?
Yes. How else you gonna be?
Excuse me?
I comment on AIDS.
What about AIDS?
Well, I see it as no glove, no love.
No glove, no love? What about teenage pregnancy? What about it?
What about it? Great.
Do you think as a teenager, hey,
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
do you think as a teenager you're ready to have sex?
No.
Time is right when you're ready.
Excuse me?
When you're ready, that's when the time is right. That's it.
Hey, drugs. You're out here at a cleanup. At a park that may have some type of drug paraphernalia out here.
Yeah, bags.
Bags for what?
Marijuana.
Marijuana. What does marijuana do to you?
Makes you want to eat.
Makes you want.
You make you can't wait.
How many people think smoking is cool?
Okay, what?
Anything. Now remember, you are on camera, and this camera is running at each and given time, and trust me, Tuesday nights at 11 o'clock, your parents will be watching. I take these topics very seriously. Sex, drugs, violence, those are what's killing the people that you go to school with every day. Now you're out here, and I'm glad that we're cleaning up together, but at the same time, you need to take some of these topics to heart. Because it's not all fun and games. How many of you know someone who is a teen mother?
I am.
How many of you know someone who is struggling as a teen mother?
It's the fourth time this week I had a sex with you. You a teen mother?
How many of you know someone who uses drugs? No matter what kind of drugs it is. How many of you know someone who's died from using drugs? So do you think that's something to laugh about? Do you think that's something that's cool? You know, you're out here and you're in this community, and each one of you go home every day, and it's sad to say that 9 times out of 10 this year you may lose 3 friends to sex, violence, or drugs. And it's kind of sad that I'm out here today with you, and when we bring up the topic, the beginning of the conversation was all fun and games. And it's not. As intellectuals, use 60% of your brains to think about how to save your life. Use that 60% of your energy to learn how to do something that's positive. And right now you're on camera, and I will put this on my show because you are an example to the young people who are watching this show. You all showed me a lot of courage the first time we had a cleanup. You all showed me that you were really down for your community. And that's why I said, you know what, this is the perfect group. This is the perfect group to work with right now. Do you understand that you're in a program that is so rare in Buffalo? Do you understand that? Half of you go to schools and you don't have the opportunity that you have this summer. And once again, you're all here because you have not indulged and hurt yourself by the issues surrounding sex, violence, and drugs. Now I'm going to try this again. The first topic, and I want intellectual comments. How do you feel about what sex does to teenagers? I hear someone talking, but I want to hear it loud. How do you feel about what sex does to teenagers? Do you feel as if you're ready? Do you feel as if it's something you gotta do? How many of you know friends front when they say they're your age and they've had sex and that they've had it going on? How many of you know that they're fronting? Come on, don't act like you don't know what fronting is. How many of you have ever been around a group of young people your age and all they talk about is, man, let's go get messed up. How many beers can I down? How many L's can I smoke? Yo, how many bags can I sell? How many of you ever been around that situation and heard that conversation before? Come on, all you gotta do is show me hands. If you don't want to talk, show me hands. How many of you have ever heard somebody get angry over the silliest things like sneakers? Man, I oughta get him for his kicks. Man, I gotta go to school and pop this kid. How many of you are scared to go to your corners at night and go to the corner store if you have a corner store? How many of you? How many of you see drug dealers on your corner every single day? Who don't go to work, who don't go to school? And how, out of everything that I just asked you, if it affects you that these things are going on, let me see a show of hands.
Come here, Walt.
If anything regarding what I have asked you today affects you, makes you think about it, makes you sad about it, makes you angry about it, makes you wish that things would change in the community, let me see a show of hands if you're feeling that way. Any of those emotions. I see a hand. You mean to tell you that when you see young mothers dropping out of school, not finishing their education, that doesn't bother you?
Don't drop out of. What about the ones that do it?
That's right, half of them don't. That's a good thing. You mean to tell me, huh?
All teen pregnancy not bad though. It's bad, but it all depends what situation you in.
What do you mean?
I'm saying if you going to school and stuff and you get pregnant and you got the money to take care of your kids and stuff, then that's okay if you still in school. But if you drop out, then that's wrong. But all teen pregnancy not bad.
Okay, she says all teen pregnancy isn't bad. Guys, how do you feel about that?
I feel the same way.
You feel the same way?
Yes, I do.
So once again, we're gonna take, if that's not, oh, I see a shaking of the head. What do you mean? What do you mean? You were shaking your head no. How do you feel?
I don't feel that any teen pregnancy is right.
Is what?
I don't feel any teen pregnancy is right.
You don't feel any teen pregnancy is right? Why is that?
Because I believe that a child should have a strong moral basis growing up as a child. And having a child out of wedlock is not a good start for that moral basis.
You know what? You brought up a very important issue. How many of you are from two-family homes nowadays? Two-parent family homes. If you're at home with your mom and dad.
I got a stepdad.
No, I'm talking about mom and dad. Since you've grown up.
I got my mother and
My
she's
mother,
also
my
my father,
mother,
so
and my
therefore,
father.
You know what?
I think that should go.
Two physical bodies at home?
I have my mother.
My mother.
And I have my mother, God and me. That's all I need.
You know what?
That's all I need.
A lot of times today we're not growing up in two-parent homes. And that's one of the good things that he just brought up. It's
with one parent, I still grew up with everything. My mother taught me everything. She took care of 5 kids by herself. Thank you.
and that's common today.
Huh?
And that's common today. But back in the day, it wasn't common. Back in the day, we grew up when we had, you know, neighborhoods that took care of kids and mothers and fathers growing up in households together. And one thing, when you have a child at a young age, and 9 times out of 10 you don't end up staying with the father or the mother, that child grows up with the imbalance. And it's not so much that it can be a bad imbalance, but it's still an imbalance because they're not experiencing what it's like to have 2 people in their families. A lot of times, as a matter of fact, I'll break it down to you like this. I'm 23 and I have a 7-year-old son. I had my son when I was 15. Graduated and everything, but I noticed that one thing that my son was missing was the component of his father, because as a young woman, I was not trying to stay there. And as a teen, you grow out of things. You grow up, you mature. And sometimes as a teen mother, you mature a little bit faster than the baby's father. And that's a whole nother component to look at. So when he just mentioned an imbalance in family structure, that's something to look at if you're planning on being a young parent. Think about if you really want that imbalance, or are you willing to wait until you have grown and matured? Maybe your partner, whoever that may be, when the time is right, have grown and matured. And then you can try and raise a mature family. And what I mean by that is bringing some family values into your lives. I'm not going to hold you long today with this. I just wanted enough footage so that when you watch this, you know that this is a serious topic. that when you go home and you think about the issues that we just talked about today, you won't be so quick to laugh the next time they're put in front of you. Because if you're laughing now, if you approach with it on the street, you laugh then, you're going to be the one that's hurt. Maybe you don't understand that right now, but it hurts to be out there lost and by yourself. All right? I want to thank you.
Thank you.
All right.